Welcome to the event planning training video for SALP student leaders. In this video, student leaders will learn how to access campus resources to support the planning of an event and be able to use a backwards timeline with your organization to successfully plan events throughout the year. One of the first things you'll need to do is secure a location for your event. There are many different venue options available depending on your group's needs. To maintain accessibility for all PSU students, most events are held on campus. Talk with your advisor if your group is thinking of planning an event off campus. As a SALP student group, you are able to reserve space in the Smith Memorial Student Union and Hoffman Hall for free. This includes all reservable spaces in Smith. To reserve space in Smith, simply submit the Conferences and Events event inquiry form, which can be found in the SALP Admin Club bookmarks. Conferences and Events will respond to requests within 3 business days. Other on-campus venue options can be reserved via OrgSync and include the Cultural Resource Centers, the Native American Student Community Center, and the Peter Stott Center. For all other campus venues, you'll need to contact the space directly. Some charges may apply. For events that will require professional sound and lighting equipment and support, you can use the student-operated service Portland State Professional Sound, or PSPS. Simply submit an event request through their OrgSync portal, and a representative will be in contact with you to go over your needs and provide information on your options and costs. Please note, if you are holding an event with amplified sound outdoors, you may be required to submit and pay for a noise variance with the city. Be sure to check with your advisor when planning outdoor events. For events involving speakers such as conferences, lectures, etc., you can order AV equipment through CAVIT, or Campus Audiovisual Events Team. CAVIT provides equipment including projectors, screens, microphones, lecterns, and other equipment you may need for such an event. You can email your request to cavit@pdx.edu or stop by their office on the 3rd floor of Smith. All AV equipment must be reserved and approved prior to the day of the event. Equipment received on the day of the event and not approved by an advisor may have to be covered by the individual that requested the equipment. We all know that the number one way to get people to attend your event is to entice them with free food. There are many things that need to be considered when choosing and ordering food for your events. If your event will be held in Smith, Hoffman, Ondine, or University Place Hotel, you will be required to use Aramark for your catering needs. You can submit catering requests for the student menu on the PSU Dining website or find the link under Bookmarks in the OrgSync SALP Admin Club. For outside catering, food waiver requests can be submitted through the Portland State Admin OrgSync portal. Food waivers will be considered for approval if the food or beverage is 100% in-kind donation, or if the food is relevant to the culture and/or religious nature of the event and authentically represents the ethnic or religious traditions of the organization, or if PSU Dining is not able to meet the food preparation requirements. Food waivers must be submitted at least 15 business days prior to the event and will require additional paperwork, including a copy of the caterer's liability insurance, catering license, and county health permit. Food from an outside vendor can be tricky. Be sure to check in with your advisor about other steps you may need to take depending on the nature of your event. When bringing a speaker or performer to campus, student groups are responsible for negotiating the price. Be sure to talk with them about honorarium, travel costs, and lodging. Typically, the speaker or performer is responsible for making their own travel and lodging arrangements, but this cost can be wrapped into their contract so they receive payment for it after the event. If you need help negotiating, please see your advisor. For student organizations, to request funding for a speaker, you'll need to fill out the speaker-performer template to upload into your budget request. This can be found under the OBC OrgSync portal. Any campus, department, or organization is also eligible to apply for Speakers Board funds to cover all or a portion of the expense. Submit the application through the Speakers Board OrgSync portal. Be sure to also include a line item for parking pass if your speaker or performer is driving and needs free parking on campus. Also, remember that in order to process a contract for a speaker or performer, the request to spend money form must be submitted 20 business days in advance for U.S. citizens and permanent residents, or 40 business days in advance for non-U.S. citizens. You should also add 2 additional weeks to that timeline to get OBC approval if you're a student organization. Everyone wants to have a great turnout at their events. You may want to reach out to the following resources to get the word out about your event. There are multiple ways to advertise for free on campus, including SALP bulletin boards and display cases that can be reserved through the SALP front desk in SMSU 119, social media, getting your events featured in the Virtual Viking by contacting University Communications. You can also check out an art box from the SALP front desk and use the banner paper located in the org space SMSU M108 to make a banner. Banners can be hung over the balcony on the first floor mezzanine. Also, make sure to talk it up in your classes. Advertising that can cost money include the Vanguard, Pacific Sentinel, using the Graphing Design Center that can help you create awesome flyers and logos, or even off-campus entities like the Portland Mercury or Willamette Week. Be creative. These aren't the only ways to advertise. Depending on the complexity and risk associated with the nature of your event, you may be required to have security on site. For some larger scale events or programs that involve high-profile guests, security may be mandatory. If the university requires your group to provide security at the event, you must use Coast to Coast Event Services. They're the only vendor who has been vetted by the Portland State Campus Public Safety Office. If you have questions about whether or not your event will require security, contact your advisor or coordinator for more information. Your group's budget will have one of the biggest impacts on the size and scope of your event. If you are an Organization Budget Council or Student Fee Committee funded group, you will need to submit budget and spending requests according to the guidelines of your funding body. The Speakers Board is a funding committee dedicated to bringing speakers to campus. Groups are required to submit an application in order to request funding. For more information or an application, visit the Speakers Board portal in OrgSync or their website. Some groups may want to seek donations or sponsorships in order to raise the funds to host an event. In most cases, there are specific policies and procedures that must be addressed before you start collecting funds. You are strongly encouraged to speak with your advisor or coordinator about your plans if you are interested in securing funds through donations or sponsors. If you're short on funds or wanting to reach a broader audience, you may want to seek collaborative partners to host an event. Collaborating with another group is a great way to not only share the cost of an event, but to also incorporate fresh ideas and energy into the event planning process. Sustainability and conscious use of resources are important goals for PSU. To learn about how to make your events more green, there's a handy green events guide located on the SALP Student Leader resource page. Backwards planning can be incredibly helpful for planning events. It's a pretty simple trick. Just start with the date you'd like to have your event and set deadlines backwards. For example, the Cupcake Connoisseurs are hosting a lecture on making giant cupcakes. They want to hold the event on October 20th. Starting with the longest processing time and working backwards, we know that it takes 20 business days to process a contract for the speaker. So that means the request to spend money form needs to be submitted by September 23rd. Once we know the date different aspects of the event are due, we can assign the task to someone within the group. Most other purchases associated with events have shorter processing times, but be sure to consult the form processing time sheets on the Student Leadership Resource Center. For student organizations, we strongly encourage you to plan out your events and submit budgets the quarter before. You can even submit budgets for the whole quarter or year all at once. Then you don't have to worry about the fact that the OBC may run out of funding at some point throughout the year. With every event, there will be elements that worked really well and others that presented unique challenges. After an event has taken place, it is important to take some time to discuss the strengths and weaknesses of your efforts. Write these things down and save them in your group's OrgSync portal so that next time this event is offered, the planners know what they should replicate or watch out for. The days following an event are an excellent time to acknowledge all the people who volunteered, provided services, or attended your event. Make sure you let them know that you appreciate their support. If someone has gone above and beyond, you might consider sending them a handwritten thank you note. This completes the event planning training. For more information on any of the topics discussed in the session, please take a moment to browse through these resources. Of course, your SALP advisor or coordinator is always happy to answer any questions you may have and offer support.